and viewers should know that she just came from teaching.
Yes.
So I was just explaining how you have so many resources about teaching Chinese, and you were still very actively teaching and have been a teacher for years. So thank you for coming. I know you just kind of had to hurry up and come out of your class to be here, so I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. It's just wonderful, and I'm so happy to be here with the Multicultural Children's Book community. It is just such an amazing community, and thank you for the invite.
Well, thank you so much. Maybe you could just start off with telling us a little bit about, I have your book here, but maybe if you want to back up and tell us a little bit about how you got into teaching, because this is really all part of, you know, your general kind of project to help kids learn Chinese. So why was that something that was so interesting for you? How did you get started teaching Chinese in the first place?
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I started teaching Mandarin Chinese because of my own kids. That's a very big inspiration, my own kids. Actually, before I came to the States, got married, I actually, in addition to the corporate job, actually, I was a ESL teacher on the side. So I was teaching English first. And then because we have a bicultural, biracial family, my husband does not speak Mandarin Chinese, and I really want to keep my kids in the heritage language and the culture. So I decided the best way would be I will dive in and then hold their hands and come into this raising bilingual kids adventure. And that's where it all started. Yes.
And was it, were you looking for resources and didn't find them, and that's why you decided that you would create your own? Or how did you make the leap from I want to teach my kids Chinese to I need to create these resources for everyone?
Such a great question. I think when we first started, we had very almost none, you know, I didn't have a Chinese language speaking community because we were outside of the US, we were overseas, so our environment, the community language could be Russian, French, Spanish. So the only way I can do it is I create something, and then, but I don't have a community because it's just me and my kids, and my husband is very supportive. But the thing is, like, how do I find other kids to be interested in doing this? So, so I said, okay, my daughter started preschool. So I talked to the teacher, and then she rejected me. She said, what? No, not interested. And then I went to the board of directors. I proposed it, and I said, I would like to come in and help the kids to learn another language. That'll be Mandarin. And then and then I think it'll be really fun for the kids to develop their just kind of like expand their world view a little bit, and then also learning a new language. And they approved it. So that's how it all started. My daughter was in preschool, two and a half, 3 years old. So every week I would go in and then play with them. Suddenly we had a community. All the kids who has absolutely zero Chinese heritage culture or anything, they jumped in and then they loved it. And how did I know that? Because the parents would catch me on in the parking lot and say, hey, and they will speak something Chinese to me. And they said, wow. And they said, because you told them to go home and teach us. So now my whole family, our whole family, everyone learning Mandarin from either the daughter or the son.
That is wonderful. And that's so neat that the whole family would be getting involved.
Yes.
Do you feel like do you feel like that's usually people's reaction, is that they're excited to learn this? Do you ever meet any resistance that, oh, I can't take on anything else, I can't teach my kid another language?
Yeah, well, actually the first reaction, you know, in terms of Chinese in general, because in addition to teaching children, I teach business professionals. So for people, they want to do business trips to China, to Taiwan. So it's very intensive training, so they can be posted in another country, speak Chinese speaking country, or doing presentations for the business trips. So usually people will say, this is one of the most difficult languages in the world. And I said, how about if it is a miss? So the resistance a lot of the times is from our own story, the story we kind of give ourselves, even though we don't even know the language. Well, let's, for example, my latest language I've been learning is Spanish. So if I think something is hard, it is going to be hard. So it's always a mindset. And of course it will be hard. If it's easy, then, maybe we just learn it naturally, but a lot of times we just need to make efforts. So I think the resistance a lot of times is from within. And I think for kids, because especially if you are the only person speak the language, or you are teaching your kids a foreign language, Chinese, Spanish, French, any languages, I think because if there's no need, it is very hard. The resistance will get stronger and stronger, especially when they start school. I know that firsthand. Yeah. My two kids, I think my son, when he was 7 years old, when he went to elementary school, second grade, I believe. Yeah, second grade. One day he came home to say, "Mom, that's it. No Mandarin, no Chinese." I was like, okay. I said, and he said, you are the only person who actually speaks Mandarin, and nobody else is doing it.
No one else. Yeah.
So I'm done with Chinese. Okay, bye.
So how did you respond? How did you handle that?
So my daughter and my son, they're like 22 months apart. So from preschool, because we created that program. So I said, wow, this is huge. I couldn't believe. I heard, I read, I studied bilingual education, and I said, I cannot believe this is happening to me, like all my friends have told me. So I said, you know what, I need to take this program to the elementary school level. So I went to the principal and I say, hey, this is a proposal. So what do you think? I said, not just my daughter's class. I want to do the whole grade level, the whole kindergarten. So it's like 100 students. I said every class I will create this program for them every week. And the kids loved it. The way I teach is a play-based learning, and it's fun, it's engaging. We start with something they can use right away. I think, like I just mentioned, we really need to let kids to be curious about something. It doesn't matter to be learning a language or learning any subject. They really need to be curious. If they are curious, they have the engine of motivation. They want to learn, not because I want to push them to learn. So, right. So when I went to the kindergarten, and the teachers are so supportive. At that time, we were in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. The teachers were just amazing. And they say, yes, let's do it together. It's not an after school program. It's not a before school program. It's an in-curriculum program. Talking about the leadership in the school, it's just quite amazing. So kids would catch me on campus. And because I had to pick up my kids, they would run to me and say, Miss Panda, Miss Panda. And they will sing a song they just learned from me, maybe last week, or maybe this week. I mean, not just one or two. Sometimes they will see a group of kids running to me. I have to say, I feel very honored and very touched, because I really feel it's because the kids want to learn, because they are interested. So they can have such a beautiful environment. So maybe a few months in, one day when I was picking up the kids were running to me and tried to talk to me again. And my son came to me and pulled my sleeve. Mom. I said, yes. Tell them I'm your son and I speak Chinese too.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great.
So that's the story. I mean, I think a lot of times you think about the journey, it's very hard, because you do need to make efforts every day. I call this emotional labor. So parents, if you're raising a bilingual child, it's really a lot of emotional labor. But at a time when somebody turn around and say, hey, mom, I can tell them I'm your son. I also speak Chinese, I think that just really give you a boost of energy, and then you think you should keep it going.
That is great motivation because yeah, because you're right. It's not easy the day to day, especially when you face a lot of resistance from the kids. That's hard. And so to further this, you have ended up creating so many educate. I kind of had to take notes because you have so many different things. I mean, you have the educational packets that you have in your Teachers Pay Teachers store. You have the CD, or it's also an MP3, you're teaching Chinese, and now you have this book, which I have here. People can see. And tell me, so first of all, how does the book fit into? Why did you decide now to do a book? And how does this fit in? And why did you decide to do it on pronunciation?
Yeah.
Which I thought was really neat. Although I have to say, I mean, just to take a guess, I think that's what most people, well, I shouldn't say the most thing. One of the things that people find difficult about Chinese, I just love these pictures. It is all so cute. One of the things that people find difficult about Chinese is just the sound, the pronunciation is so different. So tell me about where the idea for the book came from, and then how you approached it.
I also need to teach my own kids pronunciation, but I don't really teach pronunciation separately. So this is actually a word book, even though it is first Mandarin sounds, and it's actually an awesome word book. So this is the concept of the design of the book, is to using the Montessori sound box kind of a concept. So if you look at the word, you will see all the sound is embedded in the picture. So if you see this, you see the h sound. So it's Pinyin. So everybody knows the Pinyin is the romanization of the Chinese pronunciation. So H is actually the h sound, just like English. So h. So now you see this word. I have this on this page. Then I have 蝴蝶. That's a butterfly, and that's something the kids can find very easily, or pictures parents can find very easily. So I hide the Chinese characters in here. I also have the sound in here. So when a word has meaning, it's easier for you to remember. It doesn't matter if it's for a child or for adult. And then we know a lot of times on TV, we hear the news anchors or anybody doing reporting want to say a Chinese name. Sometimes they struggle because I think we never really had a way to deliver that. So this is how you say this sound. So that becomes challenging, not because you don't know. It has nothing to do with the person who is saying it. Just like there's no tool like this to help them to learn. So I just decided, I think this is something might be fun for the kids. And I have tested the material with the kids, with the parents, and they're like, this is helpful because now I know how to say all the basic words. So so I think the most important thing, I think one sound I think everybody will be very interested to learn is, here we go, the X sound. So it's actually she. So I have this word. Don't know if you can see this. 西瓜. That's a watermelon. 西瓜. So you look at the sound, it's a she, and then you can find the Chinese characters, and you will have the Pinyin and the English definition here for you. So everything is there for you to practice. And I also have the free audio a file online, so you can go up there and download it and listen to it.
Yes, and mine, I know I got to print out that. I could just, yes, I mean, it's so clever. And I think what it really shows, what a difference it makes when you have someone who has so many years experience teaching. It's because I've seen a lot of books that they'll have the just printed Chinese or maybe even the Pinyin that it's all there, but as someone who has really no background in Chinese, I have no idea how to say it. This is so clever, the way it's done, and the way the letters are hidden in the pictures. I mean, it's just so, it's such a great tool, like you said, that kind of fits into the larger picture of learning the language.
Thank you. I think another thing is I really want this book is a starter for no matter teachers or parents at home. It's fun. The thing is like the kids need to look for the words. So
Hmm.
they actually are learning Chinese. Maybe they know how to say it now. Now they need to look for the words. But when they look for words, they are saying 西瓜,西瓜,西瓜, like a watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. We do know that language needs a repetition, but repetition alone can be very boring. So we
Right.
got to make it fun. And this is the way they find that, oh, this is actually, I have to look for it. It's not very hard. So they are motivated to do it. And the more they want to do it, well, it's internalizing, right? Internalizing their memory and they can practice. So I hope this book can really help teachers and parents, to not just learning the sound itself. It's the sound, but it's actually a word book because when the words are meaningful and the kids will remember. And I also included sentences you can use at the end so you can put them in the sentences, short sentences, and practice. And I'm going to be rolling out the Audible version very soon. So I'll have every page read in Mandarin.
Oh, and that was actually my next question is what's next for you? What are your future projects? So you have those that you're working on the audio for this. What do you think you see yourself doing after that?
Next will be the story, like short sentences to go with each word that you're learning in this book.
Well, I was wondering if you could talk just a little bit. We've talked about people learning Chinese no matter what background you're coming from. And one of the things that I know you spend a lot of time doing is it's not just about the language, it's also the culture. And so you really incorporate that, like on your blog, I know you always include a lot of resources to talk about different festivals and holidays. Why do you think that's so important to tie the two together?
Well, such a great question. The world is getting smaller and smaller because of the internet. And I think we're so close to each other, but sometimes we don't know each other. And there are sometimes because we don't understand. So we need to learn more, but where are the resources? So I think culture is it's very wide because the language is a part of the culture. The family value is a part of the culture. So every time when I do Chinese culture topics, I also want to point in like a world culture elements in there. For example, the Mid-Autumn Festival, 中秋节, is coming. But the Mid-Autumn Festival, or the so-called Moon Festival in the Western world, is not only just celebrated in the Chinese community, because in Korea, they have like almost like similar to the Korean Thanksgiving is also coming that time. And also Japan also has a festival, similar to celebrate the sun, the moon. And like Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, everything, all on the 15th day of the 8th month on the lunar calendar. It sounds so foreign, but when you think about, wow, there's so many people celebrating, is that wonderful if we can share what we know with our friends, with our class, or with parents? So I feel a lot of times we don't know, so we want to connect with people. The best way to connect with people is sharing your culture. And food is always the number one.
Sure. Right.
When I lived in Quito, we've discovered about empanadas. You won't believe how my children love empanadas. Oh my goodness, they just fell in love, but because you didn't know, you have never had a chance to experience that. And then when they went there, they want to try different things. They want to open the doors for themselves. But I think at the same time, because kids are young, so we need to open the doors for them, and we need to connect, be the connector for them. Because I think every one of them, with all the books we have to celebrate the world culture, I think every book is a way to build a bridge, to make the bridge a little bit further, and then go further from where I am to where you are. I think that's the beauty of not just talking about the culture I know, the Chinese culture, because of my background. I was born in Taiwan. My parents are from mainland China. So I feel like I'm like a hybrid, you know, because and then I came to the States. So, and lived in different countries. I think we are really building bridges for our kids and for their friends. And that is something very special. So I would like to not just talk about one culture, let's look at other people's culture. And then to see if there's any connections. The thing is, I feel that a lot of times we like, just like friends, we become friends sometimes because there's something similar. We know about each other, but then we grow because the differences. Because then we can connect more. I understand you more, and then I know, wow, there's a beauty in another part of the world, and that's what I'm doing. And I hope I can expand the worldview of children through language and also cultures, and then connect them with more cultures, and they will be interested to go further and then to build their own bridge and extend that friendship with people.
That is so beautiful. What a beautiful sentiment. And that's exactly what you're doing. You know, that's not just a beautiful thought. That's what you've actually put into practice. And I feel like I could talk to you for much longer. Unfortunately, I have to go ahead and end it, but that's such a perfect note to end it on. And thank you for all the work that you're doing. Thank you for joining us today. It was so great to talk to you and to hear about everything that you're doing and why you're so passionate about it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lana, and also the Multicultural Children's Book Day. I think it's just a wonderful resource any day. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.